Well, Warwick Cairns is a National Committee member of the British Weights and Measures Association, which opposes further metrification, and he's in the studio with us now. Welcome. According to that piece there, we do seem terribly confused. Wouldn't it be better just to go metric, everything to be metric?
Well, I don't see how going metric would make you less confused. Confused about what? I mean, if you say to someone, it's 10 miles from here to somewhere else, people don't say, what do you mean by that? I don't understand what 10 miles is. No one's confused, really.
But people are wondering whether they should be measuring in metres, in miles or kilometres. They're not quite sure. I mean, we saw there when they were asking them the height of Big Ben. One man said in metres or in feet.
Yeah, the height of Big Ben, but in terms of distances, what we're talking about here, road distances, I don't know anyone who's confused about whether to judge it in miles or kilometres, or anyone who's confused when they go on the continent and see road signs in kilometres. I don't think it's a great problem. And I can't see any value at all in spending, God, how much is the figure? It's like, you know, tens of millions of pounds, lots of zeros. I can't see any point at all, like the Prime Minister said, in spending all that money for no discernible benefit to anyone. What
exactly has your consumer research done? Because you have done detailed research into this area.
Enormous amount of consumer research over the past 10 years or so. The surveys of asking people to, you know, like in your report there, to say, well, how tall are you? And we've stopped people in the street and asked children, adults, older people and so on, say, how tall are you? And you ask them, they would come back in any system. And about 90% of people, doing their own height, would come back in feet and inches. You then say, OK, if that's how high you are in feet and inches, how tall is that in metres? And at least half the population had no idea whatsoever and weren't even prepared to guess.
I mean, one of the arguments is that the world is largely metric now, and because of world trade, we need to be on the same measurement system.
Well, who's the biggest economy in the world? The USA. And they're not at all metric. They're much less metric than we are. And if it's good enough for them, I can't see why it's not good enough for us. And also, there are many other countries in the world that speak other languages, and you could go to them and say, well, look, you know, English is the language of the future. All you people in France, in the Czech Republic, you ought to speak English, and they're quite rarely tell you to go away.
What about this idea that it's part of Britishness, it's peculiar to us, and we shouldn't lose our identity by giving it up, our feet and inches?
Well, yes, and I don't want to sound like, you know, a little England here, because you know, as you know, the mile has its roots beyond England. It comes from ancient Rome, but you know, if people like it, it's one of the quirks of place. And when people come here, and when people come to America as well, it's quite accepted that that's how people measure in miles. And it's quite nice, as Nigel Farage was saying earlier, to go somewhere where it's different. You wouldn't want to go to France and to say, no, you can't have baguettes anymore, you've got to have white sliced bread, like the English.
But Lord Kinnock, he's backing the campaign, and he says really that not having metric contradicts an image of a modern country, and he's hoping really that by 2012 Olympics we should be metric.
Well, do you know what though? If I had to take Lord Kinnock as a judge of what's modern and forward-looking, I think we'd go badly wrong. It's Lord Kinnock and about 5 supporters what I can make out, and I cannot imagine for a moment how visitors or competitors at the Olympics will be badly upset or confused by coming here and finding, oh, surprise, surprise, they speak English in England and they measure their roads in miles. I mean, when they went to the last Olympics in America, and I said, God, this is an old-fashioned country. Do you know they still measure their roads in miles? I can't believe it. I think it's a ludicrous idea. It's laughable. It's so silly. I mean, I don't even know why we're discussing it, really.
Warwick Cairns, you haven't given an inch on your argument. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.